Hello and welcome back to another Pixel Palette video. In today's video I attempt to build a brand new powered coaster in 1 minute, 5 minutes and 1 hour. If you enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. So just lengthen out the station, we're going to go down a bit, and then we need to be really quick going into advanced editor here, and we're literally just going to bank around and do a really simple loop, just like that. It's not a great ending, but we're going to have to deal with that. If you want time to have scenery, so let's place down some trees and some rocks. Now I don't think we'll be able to do anything else, and that is time up. Unfortunately I wasn't able to get much done, but as you can see, at least we have a working coaster. Now we're going to watch all the POVs at the end, so without further ado, let's move on to the 5-minute plot. Three, two, one. So now we have a bit more time, you can actually plan this layout out a bit more. So from the start, I think we are actually going to drop again like we did with the last one. So from here, I think we're going to go up to the top here, do like a few airtime hills, and kind of just wind our way back to the station. So let's just add in those airtime hills, and then we'll bring it around kind of to the middle of the area, and then make our way back to the station. And then we'll bring it out just a tiny bit there, and then connect it. So now I think we've got the perfect layout done. I think we should change the colours and add some scenery with the about 1.5 minutes that we have left. Now I'm going to make this kind of like a dark green, since I'm going to add a lot of trees. And since I don't have much time left, I'm just going to change the colour of that yellow panel on top there. So now let's just use these trees. I'm just going to make sure that isn't touching any of the track, and that looks fine. Now let's add just a few bushes, and we can also use the brand new grass, which is going to look really good, and just add that extra bit of detail that it needs. Now that is time up. I think we've done quite well for this time period. As I said, we'll have a look at the POV later. Let's move on to the final and the longest time limit of 1 hour. The 1 hour is going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. Since we have a lot more time on this one, I think I'm going to do a similar kind of layout to the 5-minute one. So let's start by again dropping down, and once I finish the layout I'll come back to you because I really want to allow more time for the scenery. So now the layout's finished, we do actually have time to do one test just to check everything's smooth. So let's do that right now. So I do think that'll be fine for now, but first let's change the colours. So for the theme, I was thinking something very similar to this one, so I'm going to go for that same green again. So I think that would be good for the colours. So let's start to make the station and the queue. So now that the main part of the station is done, let's plan out the queue and where the entrance is going to go. And just like that, we can now add the main plaza, and what I'll do, I'll just use big cylinders so we can cover the area quickly, as we've already used 1/4 of our time. So I think round here is going to be kind of like a rocky ravine thing, and it's going to have some nice lakes and maybe a waterfall going through. So if we start the terrain work. Now although we do have an hour, I don't think I'm going to have enough time to do individual rocks here, so I'm just going to have to do with this weird rough rock texture for now. And before we make the other side, let's just make a quick hole along the middle so we can add the water. And I think what we're actually going to do is expand it into kind of like a lake over here. Just like that, we have all the water. So I'm going to add the other side, and then we'll move on to the next section. Now unfortunately I won't be able to do this area since it goes too close to the boundary, so I'm just going to have to do this. Now I think a way we can make this water look a bit more vibrant and blue without using the colour changer, we can always paint the terrain underneath with the glacier texture, and just like that it looks a lot more vibrant and blue. And then we can add these water emitters just to give the idea of kind of like a tide going into the lake. And just as a final touch, let's add some nature around here. But before we do, let's make the terrain a bit more hilly just to give it a bit more variety. And let's just make that grass. And let's also use these to make the edge of the water a little less blocky. And for fun, let's just add a tiny little island here and put a tree on it. I'm also going to make use of these brand new flowers, which also came out in the same update. So let's just put a few of those around, especially on this mountain area to give it a bit more colour. And let's also use the grass, again, just to add more variety and texture. And on top of this hill, let's just add this axe in the tree, just kind of like as a centrepiece. Looking at the props here, I think we could add a nice wagon. If we could have it here, and then we can use these crates to make it look as if stuff is kind of flying out of it. Just like that, we now have the overturned cart. To give that a bit of light, let's just add a small lantern kind of thing hanging from the top here. And if we put some of these blue light orbs in the water, it will give it a nice blue glow at night. And just like that, that's looking 100 times better. So now with the last 20 minutes-ish, I think I'm going to work on the station and add the last couple of trees. Now, since I haven't got much time left to do the roof, especially if I want to add more scenery, I think I'm just going to be using this mesh one. And before we finish the station, let's just add some lanterns. So now the station is done, let's just spam trees everywhere for the last 10 minutes, and then if we have time, let's add a fence to the queue and maybe a few more details. So now all my money is gone spent on trees, let's add a bunch of fences here. So let's add a small archway for the entrance. And before we're done, let's head to the operations page. And I think it does need to go a bit faster. And let's just change that to 2 laps. So now that's time up, let's head over and review each one. So let's have a look at this 5-minute one first. It's a very basic layout, and I have just spammed a bunch of random scenery here. But overall, at least it makes it round, even if this bend is a little dodgy. I won't show the POV of this one because it will probably break your neck, and also it's pretty boring to look at a rubbish coaster. Moving on to the 5-minute one. This one's theming was definitely a lot better. The layout is pretty much the same to the 1-hour one, it's just that the scenery probably isn't as detailed and doesn't have as much variation. So I'll play both of the POVs at the end. Moving on to the 1-hour version. This one is definitely the most detailed and with the most variation. So we've got the plaza, we've got a queue, and we've got a station. Scenery wise, it's very detailed with lots of variation in terrain, especially with this lake and mountains over here. So without further ado, let's roll the POVs of the 5-minute coaster and the 1-hour coaster. So that's going to be all for today. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below which one you think was the best. Also, if you're going to try this challenge yourself, make sure to submit a picture of it to my Discord server, which you can find a link to on my channel page. But as I said, that's going to be it for today, and I'll see you in the next video.